guys, and welcome to the channel. Do you have a mother wound? Now, people who have a mother wound, if this is you, for instance, and this is your mother, you model your mother. We all mother our parents. So if you have a mother who was unable to take care of you because she was a narcissist, because she was hurt herself, because she's dealing with a lot of generational trauma that's been passed down from generation to generation, that gets passed down to you, and it affects your behavior, it affects your life, it affects your relationships, it reflects on the way you see yourself, and it causes you to have issues with fear of being seen, fear of success, all kinds of things. So that's what we're going to get into today. We're going to break down the different mother wounds and how they affect you in your life today. Now, if you can relate to this, comment in the box below that you've had a mother wound. So, first of all, a mother wound, what is it? It's a behavior, it's beliefs. So when we look at the behaviors or the beliefs of the mother, we can start to see what it is that's affecting us today. So for instance, if you had a mother who was absent, a mother who was not there for you, a mother who would just leave you and go and do her own thing, and you never knew where she was, and you always felt like you've been abandoned, what's going to happen? This is going to mean that you're going to end up isolated. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to rely on yourself because you start to learn a belief that you can't trust anyone else. If you can't trust the most important person, the person who's by nature is designed to look after you, they're not there for you. You're going to think, well, no one's going to be there for me. No one's ever going to be there for me. So I need to rely on myself. I need to rely on number one. That's the safest option. So you're going to push other people away. Now, mother wound number two is if your mother was critical of you, if your mama was criticizing you, telling you you're not pretty, telling you you're not good looking enough, telling you that you need to get better grades because you're useless, even when you get an A+, they're saying you should have done better anyway, right? They'll always find a way to criticize you. That criticism leads you to becoming a perfectionist because you're always searching for ways to make them love you. And when love is when someone doesn't criticize you, you think, oh wow, we're getting some praise for once. When you get that praise, you feel like you're loved, you feel like you're validated. So the only way to get praise is to be perfect, is to be a perfectionist. So you end up becoming someone who's impossible to become. So you're never happy with yourself. You're never happy with your work. You're never happy with your job. You're never happy with the way you show up in the world, which leaves you being this kind of perfectionist, this kind of person who feels that they're not good enough, that they're not enough, they're always striving for more. And while this might be a badge of honor for many people, because it's likely going to mean that you're quite successful in certain areas, you probably are unsuccessful in other areas. So you might be really good in your career, making lots of money, but then when it comes to relationships, you struggle because you don't know how to have a relationship because you haven't learned. So actually, you're unsuccessful in a relationship because it's been passed down from generation to generation. So you might find yourself criticizing other people, judging other people, because that's the belief, the behavior that's been passed down to you. Now, maybe you've grown up with a narcissistic father rather than a narcissistic mother. If this is the case, then your mother wound is going to be one of the enabler. Because the narcissistic mother, if she was enabling the narcissistic father to be negative towards you, to be narcissistic, to abuse you, and to do all this kind of stuff, you're going to find that the enabler, as the mother, is going to make you feel like you are attracted to narcissists. Because you're going to be like, well, that's what a woman should do. That's what I should be attracted to. My mother was attracted to narcissists. My mother liked to please people, to be subservient to people. My mother was an enabler. You're now not going to know why, but you're going to also be attracted to that type of person. And also when you find that type of person, when you find a narcissist, you're going to think, well, actually, this is quite normal. This feels familiar, right? I want to make familiar my family. So you end up seeking out unconsciously relationships that remind you of your father because your mother accepted it. Your mother taught you through her behaviors that it was normal to have a relationship with someone who is a narcissist, with someone who is demanding, with someone who is entitled, with someone who lacks empathy. If you have abusive mother wound, this is going to mean that you have low self-esteem. When you have someone who's abusing you, when someone who is physically abusing you or mentally abusing you, telling you you're not enough or hurting you, you're going to feel that you're the sort of person that you must deserve to be hurt, must deserve to be second place, must deserve to be put down. So when this is you, you're going to grow up thinking, I lack self-worth, I lack value, because you've been taught that it's okay for the most important person in your life, your caregiver, that actually you are not worthy. Now, this belief leads you to feeling lacking confidence, not asking for what you deserve, not asking for raises, not fighting for things that you should have, not having better relationships. So you're going to be in a relationship, whether this be romantic relationships, or whether this should be relationships in general, you're going to be looking at relationships in terms of, okay, well, maybe they are abusing me a little bit, but that's normal and I don't have any value anyway. Have you had a mother wound of someone who was always demanding, someone who demanded more from you, who was like, I will love you if you do this, I will love you if you do X, Y, and Z? You're going to grow up and become a people pleaser. You're going to grow up and believe that you have to make other people happy because it's more important that they're happy, because when they're happy, they're not going to be angry with me. When they're not angry with me, then I can get some peace. And you mistake that quietness, that okay, like they're satisfied, you mistake that for getting what you want. You think that's what I want. And you develop this belief and these behaviors where you have to give, not expect anything in return. And what you get in return is them not giving you abuse, right? Not demanding any more of you. When they stop demanding, you think that that's it. You've quietened them down, and that's all you had to do. You just had to stop this, this toddler in an adult's body, this mother. You had to stop her from being demanding, had to stop her from crying, had to stop her from throwing her toys out of the pram. Now, what do you do if you're suffering from mother wounds? Well, the first thing you need to do is work on self-love. Work on what it means to love yourself, what it means to care about yourself. Something that you were never given. Everyone deserves to have love. Everyone deserves to know that they are as unique and as special as everyone else. But if you don't have someone in your world, and of course we think it should be our mother, but if we can't find someone else in the world to give this to us, if no one else has stepped into that caregiver role when we were younger, we're going to think that we don't deserve love. So we have to teach ourselves that we are, and the best person to do that is yourself. Start telling yourself daily, giving yourself daily affirmations that you are lovable, you are enough, you are worthy. And to start with, this is going to sound so horrible, it's going to sound hard to say, it's going to feel so uncomfortable, but it's so important that you start showing yourself the self-care, the self-love. Now, next is reinvention. Reinvention means you get to redesign your life. It means you get to let go of all the behaviors or the beliefs that you've modeled, and you can start to model some new behaviors and belief. You can be like, right, well, actually, I don't want the behaviors from over here. I'm going to look over here. You're going to look somewhere positive. You're going to start to look at actually what's inside you. What are your beliefs? What are your values? What's your North Star? What matters to you? Where do you want to go? What's your goals, aspirations? Now, a lot of this stuff is going to sound uncomfortable. It's going to sound strange because no one's ever asked you before, what is it you want? What matters to you? What's your purpose in life? So it's a deep dive in reinvention. Start to find who you really are. Now, for those of you who are looking to learn about reinvention, after narcissistic abuse, we do have a program, Rise and Reinvent, which is starting very soon. So get your application in as soon as possible. You can find that in the link, or you can find that in the bio below, somewhere around this video. So make sure you apply for that if you're interested in joining us on that group program. But the final one is prioritize. You've got to prioritize yourself. You've always been second, right? It's always been about this person's needs, and you've been a second thought to this person. So now it's time that you put yourself as number one. Now it's time that you prioritize yourself. You start telling yourself that I'm going to do what matters to me. I'm going to do what helps me to grow, whether this be spiritually, whether this be financially, whether this be emotionally, whether this be in your relationships. whether this be in your self-love, you need to put yourself first so that you can then go and help the people that matter to you, your loved ones, your children. But also, if you want to still have a relationship with the mother, once you let go of the mother wounds, you can have a better relationship with them if you choose to. So I hope this helps you to understand what it means to have mother wounds. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below if you can spot any mother wounds in yourself. Namaste.